how to stay positive in the times of difficulty, in the difficult times? Well, the answer is simple. It is to focus on the overall goodness. It is to focus on something higher and bigger than the problem. In human behavior, it is very common to, whenever there is some pain or ache or tension in the body, that the attention and focus immediately focuses on that which is wrong. The same way in life, whenever there is an issue, the attention and focus immediately focuses on that which is wrong. However, when everything is okay, the attention and focus is just floating in and out in the mundane okayness, we can say so. And very rarely people really focus on that which is positive, on that which is good, and on that which is inspiring, and on that which is gratitude. So, to master the art of happiness is to observe your focus, your attention. To observe these natural patterns that as soon as something is wrong in the body, in life, outside, all focus is placed there. And even if it's a small thing, for many people, even small things are so focused on that they become predominant, while actually in reality everything is fine, everything is good. And that applies to most of the problems actually in humanity, that people are absorbed too much in the small issues, in the small problems. And looking overall to the big picture, the humanity has never lived better than today. There is abundance of food in the store. Just visit any supermarket. You can spend just half an hour picking your tea, picking your, all kinds of products, dairy products, and so forth. It's just packed. Now it's about a choice. It's not about a supply. So there's a new problem: what to choose. And we can see that everyone is missing the point of life. And that most of the problems, 90% of problems, well, at least 80% of problems, at least 80% of all the problems are really overly emphasized, overly focused, overly placed of importance, over important. And coming back to the general okayness with life, you will realize that everything is actually quite well. And I will repeat, everything is actually quite well. And this is a big truth. So we can just look around and we will see that there's no imminent dangers, that there's food, there's house, roof above your head, that you have some money in the pocket, and you're actually, just by having the €5 in the pocket, you're better off than half of the world population, which actually have the problems of survival. But even there, many people in the lower income countries, for example, in Asia, they're a lot happier with a lot less money. So it's more about the mentality. And the most unhappy people are actually in the West and in truly deprived countries, in some African countries and the previous war zones. So that is understandable. But the Western problem is a mental problem. It's not the actual problem of life. It's a mental problem. So the way out of that, the way out of 80% of your problems in your life is to look bigger, that overall everything is good. That overall you're living a good life, overall you're comfortable, you have friends and family and all the things that you need. And these things have not been so easily available just 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Well, in the whole human history, they haven't been so easily available. So looking at the overall okayness is very important. And then if you think that your problems are truly big, maybe you lost a job, maybe you have a breakup in relationship, maybe somebody passed away, which is also a natural thing in life. And the job is also not meant to be kept your whole life, because you progress and circumstances change and the whole world is changing very rapidly. So job rotation now is very, very common. And people these days are staying 2 to 5 years in one position, majority. While just 30, 50 years ago, you would get one job and you stay for the rest of your life, and that company would pay your pension, your social security. You just get that job and your life is sorted. These days, it's totally different. 2, 5 years, what's next? And this is the current situation. So if you think that your life problems are very big, let's say you lost a job, money, relationship, somebody passed away, well, then you need to focus on even bigger overall goods. That overall, there is no war in your area. Overall, everybody else is okay. And overall, the whole planet is actually very okay. And most of the problems that we are looking at are humanity problems. The earth itself is fine. It has been here for the last 3 billion years, 900 million, 99 million at least years. And in the last couple of few thousand years, we have inhabited it. And now we think there's a big problem. Well, we are the problem. And even if we go somewhere else, let's say on Mars, on Moon, or wherever, we're going to take our problems there. And the Earth is still going to be fine. Well, unless we destroy it with nuclear weapons, but of course that is being prevented. So otherwise, the whole planet is fine. The human problems are human problems. And seeing that can be a very big eye-opener. Seeing that can be very calming. That human beings are certain species. Just like, we have complex social problems, mental problems, psychological problems. But then when you look around in the nature, the animals, the cats and dogs, they have their problems. The dogs are fighting with the cats don't like the dogs. That's their problem, but the people are laughing at it. So the same way maybe some higher beings are looking at smiling at humanity. They're just thinking in the simple problems, and they're not seeing that everything is actually fine. So a shift of perspective, a shift of focus is very, very healthy to see that overall everything is fine. Overall everything is good. I mean, really, considering even if we explode this planet, like worst case scenario, well, you know what? There are nearly 100 billion other suitable planets in this galaxy alone. Yes, that is the science. There is over 100 billion other planets similar like Earth in this galaxy alone. So the galaxy itself is such a large organism. And even if one planet explodes for some reason, well, bad for humanity, for the galaxy, just a pinch on the leg. Overall, everything is still fine. And the same way for the whole galaxy. Even if our galaxy collides with another galaxy in the next 1 or 3 billion years later on, well, there are going to be some fireworks, but there is another 100 billion galaxies out there. And the whole universe is still fine. So having this bigger perspective is very important, because focusing on these small issues creates a feeling that something is wrong. And the feeling that something is wrong can eat you up. And that's the problem. There's no actual problem, but since the focus is misplaced on some minor details, the feeling arises, and the feeling of something is wrong, if it's kept, it creates your experience, and then your experience becomes the one of suffering. However, in reality, the sun is still shining, the planet is slowly rotating as it always was, and everything is still in order, as it was and as it's going to be for a long time, for many billion years to come. So, changing perspective to the overall okayness is a very, very valuable lesson to learn. Then you can look at your whole life, you can look at all these circumstances, and you will find peace. And you will start to retrain your focus. Because your focus, as you already know, is one of the greatest powers, the greatest tools. And your focus determines your experience. So no matter how many problems you have, placing your focus on the overall okayness can create a very positive life. And as you know, the law of attraction, if you continuously focus on the positive life, or on the overall fineness, well, these seemingly present problems will start falling away. Or they will simply not matter to you anymore. So you will simply not resonate with them anymore. And if you simply not resonate with them anymore, then even if they still happen, you don't mind about them. And you resonate less and less until they fade away. And of course, your capacity increases. Your capacity to tackle bigger issues, more complex challenges increases as well. So some people are very preoccupied with small little things. And some people are solving very complex social issues. And some people are solving very complex global issues. And you may take some person solving social or global issues, and then you can take another person solving so many small life details. Has to be very perfect. The small person solving those seemingly small important details is more occupied and more busy and more worried than somebody who is actually doing a lot bigger change for the whole society, or even a country or humanity. So people get preoccupied with a lot of small details, and they can seem to be very worried and very busy doing nothing important at all. And that's another thing that really happens. So overall okayness, fineness, bigger picture is a golden rule number 1. Golden rule number 2 is your focus, your attention. Try to keep your attention now. Try to think of something positive right now. And try to keep your attention for 15 seconds. So everyone, think of something positive right now and keep your attention for 15 seconds on that. Okay, do you feel some change happening? Yes? 5 seconds is too short for change. The minimum amount needed is at least 15 seconds to maintain your focus on that which is desirable or which is actually good, and you start feeling the change inside. And try to maintain your focus for half a minute. Try to maintain your focus for 5 minutes on something positive. Try to be positive all the time. And now you see the challenge. Yes, and that is a practice. That is a practice. And many years I knew already that no matter what happens, I will always focus on what is good, on what is positive. No matter what life throws at me, I will always focus on moving forward and helping others and creating good. And this was my life value. And this life value became very important. Because underlyingly, there was a very big secret of the power of focus and maintaining that quality, maintaining that habit constantly. Maintaining that habit. Yes, you can create a habit. And if you every hour remember something positive for 15 seconds, it's not a difficult task, isn't it? But if every hour you remember something positive for 15 seconds, that will start creating some subtle changes in your day. And if you continue the practice, and if you increase the focus, that will become a habit. And this habit will change your life dramatically for better. It usually takes 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, in this kind of way, to change your life dramatically. And this is the automated habit that you can create to change your life dramatically for good. Another important aspect, number 3, is gratitude. It's to be grateful for what is already here. It's to be grateful for what you already have. Even if you have very little, the biggest gift that you have is actually gratitude itself. So the biggest gift that you will ever have is the gratitude itself. And gratitude is extremely powerful because it bypasses the mind. It's not a mental thing, really. Maybe you need to use your mind a little bit at first to create a habit of gratitude. A bit of mental training, but it's about feeling. And when you direct your feeling to the gratitude activates your heart. And it connects directly with the power of the heart. And with the power of the heart, it immediately sends a signal to the universe that this is my preferred vibration. When you send the signal to the universe that this is my preferred vibration, the universe responds. And the more you establish consciously the right signals with the universe, Because your body is like a Wi-Fi antenna. It constantly receives and sends the signals. So when you tune your Wi-Fi antenna, which is your body, your chakras, your energy centers, when you attune your energy centers consciously to that which is positive, to gratitude, to love, peace, you are sending the signal into the universe that this is your preferred vibration. And the universe responds because that is the function. Also, as a wisdom of life is to know that you will still receive challenges. And that is part of process of harmonization. Receiving challenges is a process of harmonization. Challenges allow one to grow. Allow one to, first of all, when you deal with your own life issues, then guess what? Then other people come with their life issues. And when you deal with some issues of your close circle, of your friends and your family, then guess what? More people come with their life issues. So you start to help more and more people. Because this is also a natural process that you become the harmonizing force. You become the harmonizing presence. And as soon as your field comes into a certain harmonic frequency, into a certain harmonic balance, it starts to harmonize everything around. As you know, you have an energy field extending from a meter to a few meters, or some of you even many more meters in range. Your energy field can be very big, and depending on the current state and harmony. So that sends out the harmonic frequencies. Like the Wi-Fi antenna, you start transmitting harmonic frequencies. So you start harmonizing the immediate environment, and you start harmonizing as much as your energy field extends. And what happens is that I usually give another example to those who have challenges and issues and so forth, is I give an example of a fountain. So from the ground level, there is a little fountain. Let's say it's just a really tiny fountain, let's say just this big. And if the fountain is only this big, there's a little bit of water splashing up. And if you pour in like a bucket of oil, well, for that little fountain, it's going to take quite a long time to process that bucket of oil. But let's imagine that your inner fountain of light is not this big, but it's 3 meters big, your inner fountain of light. And when you pour a bucket of oil onto the 3 meters size fountain, probably has this large stream just springing upwards. That bucket of oil will take only 2, 5 seconds, 10 seconds to clean out. So you see the importance of your energy field. And I'm speaking about your inner light, your inner energy field. That the stronger your inner energy field is, even the challenges being poured onto you will be washed away very quickly, or you will deal with them very quickly, or you will take the right actions, or you will simply process it all very quickly. So essentially, when it comes to challenges, it's not about, it's about really how quickly you can process them and move forward, feel good again, and do something constructive to move forward. So having the overall view of okayness is number one, because you will never get lost again in the details. The overall view, the bigger view of okayness will make sure that you will never really lose yourself in the details. Your focus, number two, your focus is vital in your experience, in your vibrational feeling, experience, manifestation, creation. Number three, gratitude for what you have, even as little, or even a bigger lesson of gratitude, to be grateful for what you don't have. That can be also a way of practicing gratitude. You can be grateful for what you have, you can be grateful for what you don't have. That's a bit more challenging. Is also essential. Gratitude connects directly to the heart, and through the heart to connect directly with your inner self and with the universe, and becomes direct channel into the universe. Because the mind is a bit limited, distorted antenna. The mind is a bit like in the old days when there were TVs and there were these antennas, and if it's moved a bit to the side, then it's like shh. So the mind is like that, basically. It's a distorted antenna. It's always like shh, the background noise. There's always some background noise. So that's the nature of the mind. But when you attune the antenna, correctly like this, then it's like, oh, clear. And every one of you have experienced clarity. It's all clear. That's it. That's what I need to do. So this clarity is when the background noise, the mental antenna is cleared, and then you are attuned to yourself, your environment, to the universe, and you are right in it, and you're right present, and you can do whatever you need to do, or you can simply be peacefully the way you want to be or can be. But that is the clarity, the attunement. Another big lesson of happiness is knowing what not to do as well. But sometimes we focus so much what to do, and then knowing what not to do creates a relief. And sometimes it can be the most difficult thing to not to do something. Because maybe it's a time of rest, maybe it's a time of balance, integration. So that's also very important. So staying positive in the challenging times, it totally depends on perspective, as you know. And seemingly some of the big issues in your life or somebody else are peanuts. And maybe they have a bigger focus. Maybe the other one, or you can become also focused on the overall okayness, on the overall good. And I wouldn't care if there is even like 1 million people saying that something is wrong. I mean, if you want to know what's wrong, just turn on your television. It continuously bombards you and programs you with what is wrong. And with all the issues that are not your issues. That's even worse because you can't do anything about them. So the media is one of the biggest enemy of happiness and positivity. because they're not even your issues, you know, like somebody walked on the street and the car hit them, or somebody robbed the shop, and what can you do about it? Do you really need to know that? That's the job for police and the job for ambulance. Maybe they should tell what's good happening in life. So you also have to filter out 99.9% of noise and negativity. And that is another very big key pillar of happiness and positivity. So positivity and happiness, it's a practice. We may say an art, we can say it's a science, but art or science, it's actually a practice. And when you put things into practice, you make it perfect, you make the right habits. It's good to have the right habits, because the right habits will keep the happiness even on a higher vibration. So happiness and positivity is the right practice.